What is up guys, my name is the Eagle Source. Today I'm reviewing the ACR, the ACWR as it's called in game, but the ACR as it is in reality. One of the guns that really was a shortfall to me, to be honest. It really wasn't all that great for me. I didn't really like it all that much. It's a good gun, it's an okay gun. It's strong compared to a lot of the other carbines, but it's not the best by any means. The limited ammo capacity in particular really killed me a lot. Hence why this gameplay is not incredible. It's okay, it's nothing terrible. I would never post anything terrible. It is okay, it's quite good, but it's not up to the standard that I prefer to post, and it's not up to the standard that I would normally post if I wasn't being specific with the gun setup and so on. It's a defensive game on Striker Karkin, so we're seeing some more back to Karkin gameplay. Really didn't post enough of this as and when it came out, but I really do like these maps, so I thought I'd post up some more of this. I had the choice between this and some Wake Island 19-0, which is technically a better score, but I thought this was more entertaining. I've left it raw, just to give me a bit more time on which to talk about this gun. So, this gun, it is the ACR, of course. It is a carbine, as opposed to an assault rifle, as many assumed in the opening of the close quarters weapon announcements and so on. A lot of people thought this would be an assault rifle. It isn't. It's a carbine. It's got a 26 round magazine plus one in the chamber, of course, as usual. That is really its biggest shortfall, because it's got the same damage as all the other guns, but the rate of fire is 850. It's very high rate of fire. You will find that all of the bullets are gone before you can even think. I mean, right there you saw it. You saw exactly the effect it has on me. Normally I'd have dropped those two guys, but the lack of ammo really in my magazine really did destroy me on that one. It also, funnily enough, registers and does a lower damage than all of the other carbines combined. Not exactly, but it does a 20 maximum damage, falling down to a minimum damage of 16.7. I will check out those facts. I'm not exactly sure about whether that is correct, but that's what tests have shown me, and that's the information I get from secondary sources on the internet as well. It really does show, to be honest, because the rate of fire is massive, the clip size is ridiculously small, and the damage at that rate is really low, and that is in combination why I still think, you know, the TAR is a much better weapon than this. The M4A1, which I normally champion in this category, is much better than this, and so on. I mean, you can do a lot better than this. The G36 is also an absolute tank compared to this. You can do a lot better, really, than this gun. I was quite disappointed with it. In terms of the ammunition and so on, it really is its biggest shortfall. I mean, on battle log it registers a long range, so it's kind of like an assault rifle among carbines, in that you can use it at longer ranges. It is much more accurate than the other carbines, and it does behave kind of like an assault rifle, but the damage is far too low, really, and indeed the rate of fire and the lack of ammo really does kind of bring it down on this one, in my view. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna stick to. What's more, the recoil is quite low, which adds to its kind of role. It can be used longer ranges. It is a difficult gun to use. I'm not the best battlefield player in the world by any means, so don't take my word for it on the ACR. You can only really form your own opinions on it. There are some people I know that champion this gun over the other carbines, but I'm not one of them, to be honest. I don't find myself in particularly long range engagements with assault rifles and carbines all that often anyway, and if you don't, the chances are this gun is probably not going to work all that well, and it really doesn't to me. I mean, the minimum damage is higher than the other carbines, which means it's better at longer ranges, but the maximum damage is lower, which means it's worse technically at closer ranges despite the rate of fire. Really is a shortfall of this gun, to be honest. It really is. I was kind of disappointed with this gun. I really wanted it to be a good gun. I really wanted the Close Quarters expansion pack to be entirely made of bestiality, and allow me to absolutely hack the game and just own everyone. But I mean, it isn't. I mean, it's not. It's not rubbish. It's not bad. Appalling. It's not as bad as some of the other guns in this game, but it can be annoying in a lot of cases. You do find shortcomings a lot. The accuracy pattern is pretty tight. Again, as I mentioned before, its role really is a clear-cut one, and the recoil is again low, as you would expect really from the ACR. That's kind of the effect the Call of Duty has had on the interpretation of this gun. People think of it, when you say the ACR, people generally think of it as a highly accurate, low recoil gun. That's what it is in Battlefield, but it isn't really strong enough to be competitive in my play style. Not necessarily applicable to yours, but that's my opinion on this gun. I hope this gameplay can really show you what the gun is like. Really, I get a little bit lucky in a lot of times, and I get very unlucky in other times. But what can I say? Normally on this map, by the way, I'd set up bipods and start using the support kit. Using the engineer class on this gun map was a little bit alien to me. At the beginning of this gameplay, going back to it just very briefly before I move on to the second topic, as I normally do. Basically, this game opened with maybe a few guys on my squad. That's it. Eventually, after a little while, the server actually populated. At the beginning of this game, there really weren't very many people here. I mean, there were like 4 people on either side of the server. I can't remember whether this was on my server or whether it was on some other server. I really can't remember. But it started out with very few players, and then loads of people joined, including a clan, and they kind of wiped us out on this first base. But we do take it back. On the second base, I believe, might have been the third if we were unlucky. But yeah, we did quite well in the end to win it, I think. Especially with me putting myself at an instant disadvantage with this gun. To be frank, I really, compared to the MTAR, which is the other gun in the close quarters expansion pack, which I'll go over at a later date, it really isn't that strong. So the second topic of the day was spawn camping. That's what I really wanted to talk about in this case. By the way, I hope you enjoyed that armored kill footage. I know the quality was crap. The better quality footage is at Machinima, but they have exclusive rights to it, and I'm not allowed to use it. But I'm allowed to use the live stream footage. So there you go. Moving on to spawn camping. It is something that is very applicable to the Battlefield franchise. It's not something like it's not exactly the same. Call of Duty, you had your whole spawn trapping. This game, you kind of do have spawn trapping, but spawn camping is even more of a threat. Because of the design of the Battlefield franchise, the game modes, particularly Conquest, and also Rush as well, to an extent, which, you know, there is the potential there for spawn camping in Rush games, particularly on Karg with the helicopter. Other maps it normally guards against it, and it does guard against it pretty well. But particularly in Conquest, the game revolves around static control points, which basically just means players are more vulnerable to spawn camping than they would be in other games in this particular genre. I'm talking your Call of Duties, your Unreal tournaments, your Medal of Honors, so on. Well, not Medal of Honor, that was a crap example. Medal of Honor is a game that's absolutely infected with spawn camping. That's the one thing Medal of Honor Warfighter has got to do to make it a decent game. If it fixes that, very good game. If it makes it an exciting and enticing game and fixes the spawn camping issue from the previous Medal of Honor, then it would be all good. The spawn camping was entirely revolving around the map design, which was bad, basically. If you ever want an example or a metaphor for spawn camping, my view, Medal of Honor is where it's at. Medal of Honor's spawn camping was the biggest problem with that game. Absolutely enormously significant problem. But moving back to Battlefield, spawn camping is just basically, for those of you who don't know, I do get asked questions about, well, you know, what do I define something like this as, or what is, just full stop, what is something gaming term that I talk about, like what is buffing something, what is nerfing something, that kind of thing. I suppose people might not know, but spawn camping is just the tactic of taking up a useful position outside a spawn point, spawn beacon, that kind of thing, usually with a anti-infantry type class. just without making any attempt to capture the flag. This is in essence, this is the spawn camping idea, and just killing all the people that come out this particular spawn point. Normally used basically to inflate a person's score. That's what it's used for. But spawn camping in the more general, more modern sense is basically just killing people within about 5 seconds of spawning and just sitting around in the general area of a spawn point and pissing the enemy team or whatever off, generally. I mean, the Battlefield franchise has always suffered from this. Conquest is a big one. Conquest has always suffered from spawn camping, big time. Rush, Bad Company 2 Rush suffered from spawn camping a lot. It's one of the bigger problems in that game. A lot of people say Bad Company 2 is a perfect game, Battlefield 3 is not a perfect game. I think that's rubbish, really. Bad Company 2, if you had a good team that knew what they were doing, it wasn't quite as obvious to the player as it may well have been, but the spawn camping problems was really bad. If you want to know what I mean, just go on Isla in a Centes with a squad. Tell 3 people to go on that right hand side of the first island, 1 person to just sit where that machine gun turret is on the first island, and watch as the defenders spawn in literally 1, maybe 2 spots on the map, just to the left hand side of that machine gun bunker if you're looking from the attacker spawn point. That's what I'm talking about. In Rush, in Bad Company 2, particularly for the defenders, spawn camping was a real issue. It wasn't exactly noticeable, which was lucky, really, because not very many people kind of sort out how to do it. So it wasn't quite as strong a problem as it could have been, potentially. But really, spawn camping was a strong problem in that game for me, because I played quite a bit with really competitive teams and so on, and it was just abused, really. But in Battlefield 3, DICE really showed it's not impossible to counter, and they did kind of fix it on the majority of game modes. In the majority of Rush maps they fixed it, except the ones where there's a helicopter, and helicopter spawn raping is the thing I unfortunately did abuse for that chopper game. I really don't care about it, but I think when you've got a chopper like that, you have a right to spawn camp when your team is just incompetent at shooting you down. That's not my fault. In essence, a jet is a very strong weapon against a chopper. I see no reason why we couldn't have been taken out more by jets, and we were taken out quite a lot. But that is just what I think. What I think about spawn camping as a concept. What I think is wrong with spawn camping and spawn killing, which is slightly different. Spawn killing is just camping a static spawn, which I spoke about before. Battlefield has the static spawns that Call of Duty and so on doesn't. It's seen as cheap. It's seen as cheap. It's seen as annoying. People can't get out of their spawn. People can't do anything. People can't play well. And basically, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I've seen a lot of hate, not just on me, but on a lot of different YouTubers over this whole spawn camping thing. I really wanted to talk about it to get my views out on the subject. Basically, this is my opinion, right? If a team is bad, okay, if a team is bad, if a team's not playing the objective, if a team can't shoot for shit, then at the end of the day, spawn camping is just a natural consequence of that. Spawn camping is just something that happens when your team completely steamrolls another team and just has to sort of sit there, really, and just get spawn camped. Spawn killing is a different matter entirely, abusing the spawns to get kills on spawns. That is cheap. That I don't like. That should be stopped. But spawn camping as an idea, where people, just sit around and kill people in a main base or a main spawn point or a flag or something. That's just a result of your team not being good enough, and you just getting steamrolled by another team who's better than you. That's just the simple fact of the matter. Therefore, I think it's legitimate. That's my idea of it. In the same way that I think the chopper thing, abusing choppers and spawn killing, so to speak, with choppers is not a cheap tactic. I think that's perfectly legitimate because it just means the enemy team isn't good enough to take you out without some sort of dodgy kamikaze trickery. That's my idea on it. Spawn camping, on the other hand, just abusing using the spawns to get a lot of kills by making people spawn in one location, just mowing them down with an LMG, something like that. That is something I disagree with. And I hope you kind of agree with me. I just wanted to clear that up because I have received some hate on the whole spawn killing idea, and I received some hate on the I've seen a lot of hate to other YouTubers on the spawn camping idea. But I hope you found this video informative at the beginning and enjoyable and interesting maybe on the last bit. But until next time, guys, take care, goodbye, thank you for watching, guys, take care.